Good morning. It's Friday, September the 26th of 2025. And the big news is I did not win the St. Jude Dream House. And it was also yesterday was the drawing, and it was also my dad's birthday, which he would have been 103. So I guess that he decided that it would not be a good idea for me to win the St. Jude Dream House in Lexington on his 103rd birthday. So life just goes on, and next year I may apply again. Who knows? I may buy another ticket. But some lady in Lexington, and then I never could find out who. See, I just wanted one of the consolation prizes. I would have been thrilled, like a $1,000 gift certificate to Walmart or something like that. But I guess it wasn't meant to be, so I'll just have to move on. I hope y'all are having a great day. Here in my old Kentucky home, it's about 8 a.m. and it has been, well, it still is so foggy out, you cannot see the road. You know how it is in the fall when it starts getting foggy. And I used to dread my girl having to drive to high school, but now she can walk to class. So that'll be good. Here on the back of my house, the sun is shining, and out in front it's so foggy you cannot see 2 feet in front of you. So it's just another fall morning. And do you know that, next week will be October the 1st. Unbelievable. Well, I've got several little things jotted down here I need to tell you about. Let me do this upper room first, because you know how I love that. On Wednesday, when I read this, I thought, it's for me. It's for me. Everything, these little books. Now, if I was buying these, I would buy the large print, because they are very small print, but I can read them with my glasses. The name of this lesson was God with Us, and it says, God knows our prayers as well as our doubts and fears before we utter them. And our prayer says, Dear God, thank you for being with us always. May our thoughts, words, and deeds glorify you. And here's our little Today I Pray. I think you'll find this very familiar. Today I pray that I do unto others as I would have them do unto me. Don't we all wish that? You know, I think about different places we go during the day, or we have been. I was just thinking about hospitals. And the good news is I didn't win. The bad news was I didn't win the dream house. Well, it's not really bad news. But the good news is my husband did get moved to our local hospital for rehab yesterday. And it's, instead of driving 40 miles a day one way, I can just drive like 10. So that's going to be wonderful, wonderful. I'm so thankful he got moved. So I'll be going up there to stay with him today after I get this video made and a few odds and ends done around here. But I was thinking, at the hospital we have been to the last few days, they were very nice, very, very nice. But I cannot tell you one nurse or aide that came in and just had a bubbling personality. Of course, you know, if you work in that field, I'm sure you wouldn't be very bubbly. But then yesterday, they were very, very nice and very helpful. They always asked me if I needed anything, if he needed anything. But you know, they just weren't upbeat, and I like upbeat. Then we came to our local hospital yesterday, and he's got an aide that I've already fallen in love with, and I'm going to have to keep my eye on her and him, I think. She was so bubbly and just so helpful, so cheerful. And he actually laughed out a few times, which, you know, some of you that's got husbands like me that doesn't laugh a lot. And I was so glad to see that, because I thought that was so good for him. and I know he's well taken care of. But it's so important how that we treat other people, and especially in hospital settings. You know, when you're there with a sick one and you're kind of down in the mouth anyway. But I'm thankful he got moved. And just continue prayers for him that he can be able to walk. Yesterday, he said he took 2 or 3 steps yesterday morning. And so hopefully he'll be able to walk again on his walker or his cane and can come home within the next week or 2. I'm looking forward to that. I told him yesterday, I said, I miss making your coffee of a morning. He said he missed having it because I don't think hospital coffee is too good. I don't know, I don't drink it, but that's what he said. So, and I've got a few prayer requests I wanted to mention. You know, please be reminded every day to pray for all those that's on our prayer list. We don't have to name them name by name, but I've got a list, and we just know what that prayer list is. And just other people are requesting prayer on other different channels, and I love seeing that because we're just kind of coming together because we know that prayer works. There's a lady here in my town, her name's Tanya, very, very sweet. And she had put on Facebook the other night that she was having horrible pain. She thought it was her sciatic nerve, but that she had such pain in her, I guess down her leg and her right foot and toes. And I haven't heard like since that was like maybe the day before yesterday, but let's remember her because she's got another illness that causes a lot of flare-ups. And then Diane's daughter is still having chemo. Let's keep remembering her. Of course, she's on our list, but I'm just kind of bringing that up again. And then Diane is having surgery on the 29th. That will be Monday. Let's remember her. And then also a dear lady here in our community that died this week, and her funeral, I think, is Sunday. And I know that family very well. And let's remember them just for comfort. She was such a good woman, and her family is too. And let's see, what else was it? Oh yeah, I was wanting to tell you that I'm sure you've noticed that I'm not answering any comments, and I try to answer all. If you commented to me, I try to comment back. But just this week, I've just not been able to do that, and I know you understand. But I still put a heart, so you know I've read it. And some of them, I think I want to comment to that, and then I just think I'm just tired. Okay, so wah wah wah, whiny. But talking about right here on my upper room again, where it said, God knows our prayers as well as our doubts and fears before we utter them. He already knows it. But I was thinking yesterday morning, I woke up about 2 o'clock. And I mean, every time I wake up, I just pray. And I felt such peace, just such peace that I can't even explain it to you unless you've felt that before. And I got up and I just was absorbing the feelings of the morning, getting ready to go to the hospital. And before I went, I had a few little stops to make. And I was thinking about the impressions we make on people everywhere we walk in. Tractor Supply, Walmart, McDonald's, wherever you are making an impression on anybody that you speak to or you don't speak to. But I went out to the dollar store, and you remember a few weeks ago I told you about those young men that was in there, and I put my credit card in, and it said the chip didn't work, and that woman said, your credit card is blocked. Remember that? And it didn't make me mad. It didn't hurt my feelings. I just thought, she hasn't been trained on dealing with the public, in my opinion. Of course, that's not something that comes up very often. And then that it could have embarrassed me really bad or could have made me so mad that I'd never go back in there, which I'm sure they're not going to shut down because I quit going in there. But yesterday, I was in there yesterday morning, same lady, and I've seen her several times since then, always friendly, and she's friendly as she can be. That's why I know that she did not do that intentionally. Put my credit card in there. Of course, it was just me checking out, nobody else around me. And it said chip malfunction. And I said, whoop, it's not working. I said, I'll just slide it and we'll see if that'll work. I said, I've noticed that some of these in here don't work a lot. And she said, oh, you're right, they don't. And I slid it down through there and it worked. And I told her to have a great day, and she told me to have a great day, and everything was just hunky-dory, and I was just happy. I was just happy, thankful. Then I went on to the post office. No, wait, I walked out to my car with a cart. Now, I have this thing. If you're able, now if you're handicapped and you can't do this, I understand, but you see people put their stuff in their cart, take the cart out, put their stuff in their cart, and just leave the cart sitting there. Then when I get ready to pull in there, I can't pull in there because the cart's sitting there. I don't like that. So I always put my cart in the holder or take it back into the store. There was a cart out there when I came to the dollar store, and I went and got it, pushed it in. Have you noticed at all these places where you go shop, the wheels, the rubber part is worn off, and they're just on that, it's just metal rims, and they're just going every which way. And that was one of them, but I parked it in there and got me a better one. Then when I took it out and emptied my groceries, this guy was pulled up beside me, and I was going to say, would you like to have this cart? Since he was going in to shop. And before I could say it, he got out of that car and said, can I take your cart back in for you? And I said, thank you. And it just warmed my heart to see all these nice people. Then I went to the post office, and those people in there were just so friendly, and we said, have a nice day, have a nice day. And as I was going back up the road, I thought, I'm going to look over in the field because I could see, there's certain parts of the field I can see where Hershey is. Now, that's our horse that we're boarding at a place in town. And I thought, if I could see her, that would just be the icing on the cake to start this morning. And I had to keep my eyes on the road. But I did look over there, and there I saw that baby. And that just thrilled my heart to see that she was down there with her little friend, whose name is Baby, and they were just eating grass and having a big time. So that really started my morning out well. So see, it's just the little things that can give you such a thrill. It doesn't take much to make me happy. But yesterday, I pulled the garbage out to the road, because, today's trash day. And look what I found when I came back. These are, if you live in the city, you don't know what these are. These are chestnuts. And we have this, I hate the hulls that these things are in because they're about that big around, and they're just like needles. I mean, you cannot pick them up with your hand. And they get all in our driveway. And I hate driving over them. Sometimes I'll take the broom out there. But I love to, every fall, I pick these up and feed them to the horses. So as I was walking out there yesterday, pulling that trash can, and there was the first chestnuts I had seen for this fall, which made me feel a tiny bit sad. Now, some people, like chestnuts roasting on an open fire. I don't know how you do that. But horses love these. But guess what? Deer love them too. So that's going to mean that the deer are going to be out here of a night aggravating my baby because they're going to be eating the chestnuts. And normally, it's hard for me to get them picked up because, you know, they're out there and they're eating all night. But I've got her some, and I thought, maybe my girl and me go out there and see her this afternoon late, and I'll take her some chestnuts. She'll be so tickled. She loves them. And oh, they'll just crunch. Casper would just crunch those things just like peanuts. That was exciting. That was exciting to do. Let's see what else I was going to tell you. Since I have been going to the hospital every day and staying for hours, I have tried to pull a Cynthia on Senior Insights. You know, she goes to the doctor or she goes to the post office, and she's just out there trying to lure people into her YouTube channel. And I thought, here I am with this opportunity that maybe I could conjure up a little business. So I've told a few people about my YouTube channel. And Cynthia, they are not the least bit impressed. Not the least bit. So yesterday when we got to our local hospital, and I was talking to this girl, and I don't know, we were talking about this, that, and the other, and I said something about YouTube, that I had a YouTube channel. She said, "You've got a YouTube channel?" I said, "Yes, it's so much fun." She didn't want to even know what the name of it was. So I'm not having too good a luck, Cynthia, trying to get me some more subscribers, but today is a new day. I may get one today, who knows? But I get so tickled at Cynthia. She has all these she's got all these people. It's almost like she's threatening me. If you don't watch my YouTube channel, I'm going to do blah, 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 blah. I may have to do something like that, I don't know. Well, this week, the book club met. What was the name of that book I was reading? Tom Lake. I didn't read it. I read some of it. But you know, at this time in my life, and with my ADHD getting worse, it seems like by the day, and with all this stuff that's going on in my life, and unless this book is going to knock you out of the park, I'm not going to sit and read a book. And it probably would have been pretty good. But I didn't read it. I read a few chapters in it. But Tuesday night was the book club meeting. Now, I've told you that I probably won't be going all the rest of the fall and the spring as long as the basketball games are going on, because, you know, that is top priority. But I was planning on going this month until my husband fell, and that I could have gone. But I said to myself, do you want to waste that energy driving out there, sitting for an hour, talking about a book you've not read, and then come back home and then have to get up early the next morning and go back to the hospital? And I decided that I just didn't have it in me. But I did drop the book off. But I'm thinking I probably won't go back till next spring. If I go back, you know. YouTube consumes a big part of my life. And you can ask Cynthia or Grandma Lois and some of these girls. It takes a lot of thinking. My dear cousin came to visit me the other day at the hospital. He said, "How do you think of all that stuff to talk about?" Well, as you can tell, I'm just talking about life. I'm just talking about things that happen in my life just on a daily basis. And some of you like to hear that. Some people don't. Everybody's different. Old Me Living Better did a video the other day on like different people, you know, that do YouTube channels. And again, we're just all so different. It depends on what you want. You can find anything you want to. Now, you know, like now I'm into the doodling around. Hey, yesterday, or one day this week, I decided to make a little miniature stockings or whatever we're talking about. Now, this is just an index card. And so two of the people that sent me those nice gifts the other day, I made them one like this. And then on the back of it, I wrote a little saying. So then yesterday at the hospital, I did this one. And then I started doing this one, which I have not finished. Which I don't know if that's very good. Hey, I could use a compliment here. If you want to give me a little compliment on the flowers, I'll be waiting. Oh, I've got to, wait a minute, let me read you this. Mary, that sent me one of the nice gifts, sent me this sticker. So cute, and it's an Anna Green Gables quote. It's been my, and I remember reading this, if you remember this, it's been my experience that you can nearly always enjoy things if you make up your mind firmly that you will. Do you remember Anne saying that? That girl, she's left an impression on me. Has she you? I think she has. Okay, something else I want. See, I'm just jumping from, I'm trying to look at a few little notes I wrote down. I had to show you, I've got to show you the goodie bags for this week that I've made the girls. Here's one of them. Now I put this little fringe on here because I've got their names underneath. But look at my bird. Am I talented or what? Now there's the little cards I made the other day that I showed you. I made each one of them and they're glued on there. The little bird, and then I punched holes and put that little cord through there. They'll be so excited. Now let me show you. I've already tied that one up, but I didn't tie this one up because I want to show you what was in it. Another little pack of these cheese crackers. A clip with a magnet for, I was thinking potato chips, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess you could use it for potato chips. These ice breakers, that is strawberry. These are so good. If you've not tried these, try them. I keep some in the car. I have other flavors like spearmint. Of course, these suckers. My husband loves those suckers. A can of soup. I was thinking, you know, if it was raining or cold one afternoon and they didn't want to get out, they've got a microwave in their room, they can open that chicken noodle-os soup. Then I put them, these are some new Jolly Ranchers I had seen a while back. They're like two-sided. And then here's their little fun thing. It's a little necklace. It's a Halloween necklace. And it's got a little thing on the back where you can push and they'll light up, but you have to pull that little paper out or something. Isn't that cute? So that's gonna be their little bags for this week. Then, you know, last week I got them the little bird lamp. This week I got them, I'll have to show you a picture on my phone because it doesn't show the picture. It's these. It's little stained glass ornaments that are fall, they're leaves, and they came in this package, which you can't see what they look like, but I thought what would be cute was if they made those, and they've got little suction cups with them, like to suction them to the window, that they could even put them on their door, their dorm room door, and even put a little sign that like say, take one, and other people on their floor could take one and stick them on their windows in their rooms, or they could stick them on their door. Isn't that a wonderful idea? And those kids are probably gonna be saying, we've got more to do than to do crafts while we're sitting up here going to college. But anyway, let me see if that's everything I wanted to tell you. And I'm going to read you a little funny story, and then I got to get off here because I've got to get to the hospital. You know, sometimes when I read these jokes, I think, have I read these before? But when I read them, I date them, and I put them in a different pile. So I don't know if I've read this before or not, but if I have, too bad. Just life anyway, okay? I walked into a doctor's office, and the receptionist asked me what I had. I said, shingles. So she wrote down my name, address, medical insurance number, and told me to have a seat. 15 minutes later, a nurse's aide came out and asked me what I had. I said shingles. So she wrote down my height, weight, a complete medical history, and told me to wait in the examining room. A half hour later, a nurse came in and asked me what I had. I said shingles. So the nurse gave me a blood test, a blood pressure test, an electrocardiogram, and told me to take off all my clothes and wait for the doctor. An hour later, the doctor came in and found me sitting patiently in the nude and asked me what I had. I said, shingles. The doctor asked, where? I said, outside on the truck. Where do you want me to unload them? Hey, I hope you have a great day. And I hope you've enjoyed this little get together for us talking for a few minutes. This is Friday. What about the secret garden? I'm telling you, this last chapter, when Dickon and Mary met, that's what I've been hoping for. It's untelling what they're going to get into next. And I'm already looking for the next book, and I've got an idea. I'm going to check at the library and see if they have it. So get ready, and hopefully, now remember, if something happens, if I'm not on here, you'll know that I've just had a little wrench thrown in the plan. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have some secret garden. So you have a great day, and smile, and I hope to see you on Monday. Bye-bye.